Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Zigzag Leap. Today, I am talking to Paul Levitin, who is a health and happiness coach. And Paul, can you tell everybody a little bit about you and what it is that you do?
Yeah, sure. So thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here. Hello to everyone out in internet land. So as you said, I am a health and happiness coach. And what that is I just help people live healthier, happier lives. I spent many years in the fitness world as a personal trainer and a nutrition coach and learned how to help people with changing their bodies, internally, externally, physical bodies. And after a while, through my own journey of self-discovery, dealing with alcohol, dealing with drugs, and kind of reaching a low point in my own life, during those same years, I started to get more into personal development. You can call it self-help or personal growth. I don't really like the term self-help. I prefer personal development. But I started to, read a lot of books about psychology and behavior, the human mind and why we do what we do so that I could help myself be a better me. And then when I got there, dug myself out of the the deficit I had put myself in, only my own fault. I realized that, although I could help people with the health and fitness stuff, there was a huge gap in what was out there because all the information is out there, right? Why is it that everyone knows that they're supposed to go to the gym, but doesn't go? Why is it that everyone says they want to lose 10 pounds over and over for every January 1st for all of eternity? And why is it that everyone is unhappy when we live in the most abundant time in human history, when I have a device that literally streams happiness into my face all day, all night, theoretically? And I realized there was a big disconnect there. And I had all this information that I had kind of figured out myself just from reading books and going to seminars, because that's the type of person I am. When I will just dive headfirst into something. And I made my own lane and became, the Healthy Happy Human is my podcast and is my brand. And I just started doing everything. So I say healthy and happy because fitness and nutrition and stuff is a part of that, because I do think that the healthy body is a part of a full life, but
Mm-hmm.
happy is a big part of that as well. And that's the mental, that's the mindset. And there are two sides of the same coin, because you can't have one without the other. To me, a full life is not full if you're not physically healthy, but you're also never going to be happy if your body is not keeping up with you. And in the same way, even if you're the most physically healthy person, quote unquote, if you don't have the mindset, if you don't have the stuff going on up here correctly, then you're not really healthy. You can appear all you want to be with the six pack or with the big arms or whatever it is, but I've seen plenty of people. Again, I worked at a gym for many years. See many people with big abs and big butts and big arms or whatever it is, who were crumbling on the inside. And that's where I was. So that's kind of how I came up with all of this.
Wow. Okay, lots to unpack there. um, what do you say to the people that say happiness is an illusion? It's an external thing. It's, you know, arbitrary. How does that work for you?
That's madness. I mean, to me, a big part of this, of the way I came to this too, is, personally, to me, happiness is everything. I am personally, I'm not a deeply religious person, right? And I came to this conclusion when I was young, actually. That's like, I don't know. I don't subscribe to any real religion, right? Maybe there's, I believe maybe there's some universe out there, some higher power, sure. But I don't know that when we die, when we finish our 180, 100, 120 years on this earth, that there's anything after that. So what I do know for sure is that I get this time right now. And
Hmm.
if all I get is right now and nothing after this, then to me, the point is to make the most of that time. And to me, that's happiness. Now, you can say that, like, well, like that becomes like, well, then what are you just going to like only care about yourself and like whatever like that? But I don't think that's the case either, because anyone who understands humans understands that a part of happiness is giving to others, right?
Hmm.
Inherently, it is inside of us that when you see a little kid crying, you want to pick them up and pat them on the back. When you see
Right.
an old person, struggling, you want to help them. This is no one has to teach this to you. It is just part of us. So people will say like, oh, well, if all you care about is your own happiness, but your own happiness, unless you're a sociopath, it has to do with other people. I mean, don't get me wrong, some people are like that, but for the most part, happiness is me, but it's also my community, and it's everything. And I don't know what else there is better to to aim for in life. That's just again my own personal philosophy.
I love it. What is your definition of permission? Like, given all of these things that you've been through and the path that you've been on.
Permission, I think that this is a very internal thing. I think that you have to give yourself permission. And people, just like happiness, just like most things, are seeking something external that actually is internal, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're seeking permission from others for when we need to give permission to ourselves. We're seeking happiness somewhere else via money, via whatever other person, via anything else, when the real only way to get it is inside of us. So, people hold themselves back because they're waiting for something to come and save them, some permission, like, oh, well, I'll do it when this happens. But that's not real. Everything has to start within. Right. And, that's why everything in my courses and stuff. And like I said, that's why I left from the fitness world, because it was just like, oh, like that stuff is important, but it's not the base. I have to go deeper. It's, whatever you want to say, peel back the onion. And if we just keep peeling the layers back, eventually we get to me, and everything is me. Everything starts within. And only when I understand and accept that, and again, give myself permission to wade through the muck that is me, then maybe I have a fighting chance to figure this stuff out.
Coming into this season that we're in, and people are going to be with family members, they're going to be with friends, or maybe they're going to be alone. How do you find happiness when you're in a place of contention with the people around you or with yourself?
Yeah. So, it's hard, people, especially because my whole thing is happiness, right? And I coach people on happiness. So people ask me, like, what's the secret to happiness? But I don't have an answer. I don't have a set answer for that, because I think that, happiness is relative to the person. Different things make different people happy. But what I do know from my experience, and this is my own personal experience, my experience with hundreds of clients, and, just reading, because this is Buddhism, this is Stoicism, this is Judaism, this is Christianity, this is everything, this is ancient wisdom, that the key to unhappiness is expectations and not accepting the realities of what is, right? Meaning, I want things to be this way, but they're not. Mm-hmm. Inherently, I want the sky to be pink every morning, but it's blue. I'm setting myself for failure and to be unhappy because of that. I want to be having opening Christmas presents with my family, but I'm divorced and they're with their mom this year. And I can want that all I want, but it's nothing good is going to come out of that. Right. So I want to be, I've been dieting for 6 months, and I should have lost 20 pounds. Shoulds, expectations, wants, all of these things are setting ourselves up. There is only what is. So acceptance of that. Now, again, once we accept it, we can strive to make it better, right? I can strive to improve my diet, to make my relationship with my kids better, to do whatever the thing is. Right. But to not accept the realities of what is the root of, I wouldn't say all unhappiness, but a definite fast track to unhappiness.
That's interesting. I've never heard it put exactly like that, but I do tell my son very often, like, you can't expect people to do what you want them to do. Like, the minute you put expectations on people, you set yourself up for failure and disappointment. On that same track, though, you've got your people's attachment to outcomes. And I think that is the same thing. So you're expecting the outcome. And then when that outcome doesn't happen, or it shifts a little bit to the left or right, then you're left wondering, okay, where did I go wrong? And the fact is, you probably didn't. Right.
Exactly. So, this is what I have, I have, different educational programs, and I do coaching with my clients, and every person that I work with is a little bit different, because again, this is not a cookie cutter thing. This is, again, working through a lot of people's internal stuff, but there are parts that are like standard for every single person. And for every person, the very first coaching call I get on with them, when they sign up, the very first day, the first call we have is exactly that, is saying, like, you cannot have expectations of the way that this is supposed to look because the universe doesn't care about your expectations. And when you have these expectations, you're setting yourself up for failure. But now you can go and say, well, because again, that's goals, right? Like I have a goal to lose 100 pounds. I have a goal to make $1 million. I have a goal to get this many listeners onto my podcast. And it's great to have goals because they push you forward and they force you to strive. But if I expect that to happen and then get disappointed when it doesn't, then I'm setting myself up for failure because I don't have control over that. So what do I have control over? I have control over myself and the actions that I take. So now I can break those goals down into action steps that will move me closer to that goal, right? So if my goal is building my business, what are the action steps that I need to take to build my business? If my goal is losing weight, that's eating healthy, that's exercising, that's getting more sleep, that's drinking more water. So I track my progress via tracking the process. So I'm not paying attention to the number on the scale. I'm paying attention to, did I get 8 hours of sleep each night? Have I exercised 5 times this week? Did I go on a walk every day after dinner? All the things that I do. And I assume with a fair level of confidence that if I do all of those things for long enough, the result has to come. But I don't have to focus on that because that's what outside of my control. This is inside of my control. And, to focus on something outside of my control, because there are people who, if we take 100 people and give them the exact same routine, you're going to get 100 different results because we're all different. So if I get focused on them, like, hey, but Susie did that. And she, she did the same course that I did and her business 10x in 6 months. And I did the same course and I'm losing money. It's like, yes, because you guys had different results. The market decides, right? The business, like there are things outside of our control. When we talk about you can put out the best podcast in the world. People don't listen. You can't, you can't shove the ear pods into someone's ears. So when that's the thing, we have to focus on the things that are within our control. And again, that is what leads to happiness because now I'm in the driver's seat. A big reason, again, going back to what makes us unhappy, the expectations, because it makes us feel like we're a passenger in life. Right. I'm out. I don't have control of my life. Things are happening to me. I'm running around putting out fires. Everything. I have to work this job because I have to get this money because I have to pay my bills because I have to. It's like no one likes that. No one likes it. No one likes to be told what to do all the time. It's inherent in human nature. We don't. Right. Tell a little kid what to do. What are they going to do first thing? They're going to run and do the opposite. Right. Like we know this. When you tell a smoker to quit smoking, you can yell at them all they want. They're not going to quit smoking. You can tell an alcoholic that they're ruining their family. They're not going to do it until they want to. No one likes to be told what to do. So when life is telling us what to do, that just feels like, again, it feels like the world is out to get me. It feels like lots of bad things come from that. So if I can get myself back in the driver's seat, again, you can't control everything, but you can control the controllables. And that's a big step in the right direction.
Okay. So now we are going into January, right? With all of this knowledge of what you just said, the have tos, the get tos, the goals, the expectations, people are going to set New Year's resolutions. And by January 3rd, the lucky ones will make it to the 31st. The really good ones will make it to May.
Yeah.
What stops us from doing those action items? Is it still the expectations or is there something deeper?
So it's a few things. One, it's an expectation of the way that it's supposed to work, meaning the time frame. That's the thing. People have unrealistic expectations when it comes to time, meaning if I want to make $1 million business, that's a goal that I can have. If I want to make $1 million business in 6 months, I've now put a time frame on that I don't get to control the time frame. Same thing with weight loss, right? If you tell me I want to lose 100 pounds, I'm like, okay, you can do that. I don't know how long it's going to take. It might take 2-3 years. If you say I want to lose 100 pounds by the summer, now you're putting it in a box that it doesn't fit in. Maybe don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's highly unlikely. And then you've set yourself up for failure because the thing doesn't subscribe to that. Right. So that's step one is when we have unrealistic time constraints, that's a big auto X. And then the next thing, especially with New Year's resolutions, is usually, in my experience, people do too much. And that's the thing, right? People think that it's like, okay, January 1st, time to change my life. So what am I going to do? I'm going to start exercising. I'm going to sign up for the gym. I'm going to start dieting. I'm going to cut out alcohol. I'm going to start sleeping more. I'm going to drink more water. Probably going to start reading a book. Going to watch less Netflix. And it's like, you've already lost the game. The thing about, all of this stuff is it's hard, right? You have to understand anything that you have to set a goal for is inherently hard. That's what you're saying. You're saying I need to do this more. That's because you're not doing it on your own. No one sets a goal to brush their teeth. No one sets a goal to eat more Oreos. No one sets a goal to watch more Netflix, right? Because these things happen naturally because they're easy. Right. So anything that I have to set a goal for is inherently hard. And that means that it's going to take effort. It's going to take energy. I'm not going to want to do it at times, right? Because we don't like to do hard things. And by asking myself to do too much of this, I'm going to just stack the deck against myself. So the way against that is to take tiny, tiny, tiny and incremental goals, one step at a time, one thing at a time, change your life bit by bit. Now, people don't like this because it's not a big change, right? Drinking one more glass of water every day doesn't make me lose 50 pounds.
Right.
At watching one educational YouTube video each day doesn't make me a millionaire. And yet, over the course of a year, because I don't quit, I get farther. Whereas the person who tries to do too much too soon, like you said, quits after 2 weeks, and now a year later is right back January 1st starting again. Whereas if you would have, I mean, listen, slow and steady wins the race, right? I didn't make this up. This is, these are fables that have been, cliches that have existed since the dawn of time, and yet they hold true for a reason, right? And especially in today's go world, where we live in a world of infiniteness, right? That's what I'm saying about the fitness thing. If the answer were more information, if the answer were do more, everyone would do it already. That, that's the thing. People think it's just like, oh, well, like, I just need to do more. I just need to work out more. I just need to diet more. I just need to, and it's like, no, you need to do less and do one thing well. And then when you've conquered that, when you have that so down packed that you can't mess it up, then you go on to the next thing. Then you go on to the next thing because, one, it's sustainable. Two, you end up creating change without feeling like you're revamping your entire life. And all of a sudden, what happens is 6 months down the road, you're drinking more water, you're getting more sleep, you're getting more steps, you're cooking at home more, you're eating out less, you're drinking a little less alcohol. But what didn't come in one foul swoop. And it just feels like, oh, okay, this is just kind of how my life is now. It's not like I didn't have to reinvent the wheel. I didn't have to burn it all down to start from scratch. It was just like little tweaks, little changes, little tweaks, little changes. And if you can do that, but again, you have to get out of your own head and realize that progress is going to be slower. It's going to take time, but you have your whole life. There's no rush.
Right. Oh my gosh. Okay, so people have these, they've got these ideas, and I've found that there are two main camps. There are those that say, if you're not grinding, it's not working. And then those are saying that if you are grinding, you're doing it wrong. So where is the happy medium in all of this?
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly like you said, right? It's that happy medium because, again, if the answer is do more, then again, it would be answered already. This is, everyone, what we want, extremes, because extremes are easy to understand, right? I want it to be all or nothing, yes or no, black or white, 100 or 0, right? But in reality, almost always, I mean, I have never found something that does not adhere to this rule. It's the middle that works, right? Yes, grinding works until you burn yourself out because you have been putting in 22-hour days and sleeping 2 hours a day. And you can't go too far to the other side, which is just like, well, I just won't care and I'll just be whatever, because we do live in a capitalist world and we do have goals for ourselves, and that's okay as well. But I think that if I had to choose one of the sides, I would go against the grind side because, again, there is a level, there's only so much that the human body and the human brain can take before it snaps. And we have to understand that stress is stress. Our brain does not discern between physical stress, mental stress, work stress, relationship stress, kid stress. There's all just stress, right? So that's the thing, right? We get these, type A personalities, whatever you want to call it, people who are like, I'm just going to work out more and I'm dieting and I work 15 hours a day and whatever. And it's like, eventually, listen, it's going to work for a while, but eventually the other shoe is going to drop. And that's, it's never going to be good. So, but again, it just comes back to the only reason you need to do that is because you have a time clock on it, right? If you said that I want to get all my goals and I don't care how long it takes, then you wouldn't need to grind like that. You would just be like, okay, I'm going to do this in a concerned, smart way. But when you say I need to get all my goals and I need them right now, then it's like, well, of course I can't sleep. Of course I can't go to my kid's soccer game. I got to keep working. Of course I can't work out because I have to stay at work late. It's like it crunches everything. Where if I can just look at this from the long-term view, we're playing the long game here. Then it's like, yeah, I'm gonna get it all. It's just I don't know when. That's my own personal thing.
Okay, the people that work with you, do they come to you like gung-ho ready to go, or are they like still in that hesitant space?
So a lot of people, come to me because they kind of understand that what's out there, the conventional wisdom has failed. right? These
Okay.
are a lot of people who want to lose weight or want to have more energy is a big one, right? A lot of my clients, it's kind
Mhm.
of like, I'm working all day and I get home and I have kids, but then I don't have energy to play with my kids. Well, what good is all that work?
Right.
And again, the Weight Watchers, the P90X, the Insanities, the gyms, the personal trainers, they've tried all that stuff. And it's like, well, why isn't it working? Am I broken? But it's like, you're not broken, right? Because all of that stuff is missing a key piece, right? Even the meditations, even the mantras, like this is like, again, I have a unique viewpoint because I have so much knowledge of actual fitness and nutrition. Like I've done the health and wellness stuff, the coaching side, and very rarely do those people understand exercise science and understand the human body and understand nutrition at the level I do. And then I've done the fitness and nutrition stuff, and very rarely do those people actually understand psychology so I've had this like nice little like meeting point of the two where I'm just like, if you would have came to me 5 years ago, I would have been the person to be like, no, just try harder, like, just grind, like, oh, you just got to be more disciplined. You just got to be more, you just got to want it. But that's not the case because I know a lot of people who really, really want it. They
Mhm.
want it. They want it badly. And they're very dedicated. They're very disciplined in other areas of their lives. They're successful
Right.
entrepreneurs, they're successful fathers and mothers. They feel bad. They're beating themselves up about it. So it's like, what I want to be able to do is to be like, no, there is a way to do this. But sometimes it's both. Sometimes they're doing too much, sometimes they're doing too little. Sometimes they're doing too much and they're just like, well, I've tried everything. And it's just like, we need you to calm down. And again, look at the long view. Then there's some people who are just like, well, I'm so frustrated because I've tried everything that like nothing's going to work and I've just given up. And then it's like, well, no, it's not that nothing's going to work. It's just that you haven't done the right things in the right orders. And also, I mean, listen, accountability is huge. Having someone else to talk to is huge about this stuff,
Mhm.
especially with things like, again, personal growth. I call self-development, weight loss, changing your body, changing your mindset. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, people want to do this stuff, but we don't talk about it. Right.
Right.
Even if you like tell your friends or something like, oh, like I'm working with a coach, they might be like, that's weird. Or if you tell your wife or your husband, like, hey, hon, I want to lose 10 pounds, like they're going to cheer you on. But the next week when you're eating a tub of Ben and Jerry's, they're going to, okay, like, yeah, they're there in your corner. They're there to support you.
Right.
And,
Right.
when you're struggling because there's infinite information out there, right? Because you Google what's the best weight loss diet and you see carbs are evil, carbs are the enemy. Then the next thing says carbs are the best, you need carbs. Then the next thing says, no, you need some carbs, but you need some protein. And it's like, they're literally the
Yeah.
answers
Yeah.
1, 2, and 3 in Google say completely opposite things. And it's just like, what am I even supposed to do with that? And that's why people quit, right? That's why people give up. So my job is not to do anything but to keep you going, right? To get you not to start January 1st, but to get you still to be in the game June 1st
Mhm.
and then December 1st, because all you have to do is keep going and you'll get the result. That's the thing, right? Consistency is the name of the game. I worked at a gym for many, many years, and people would always come in and be like, I want to look like that guy or I want to look like that girl, right? And I'd be like, that guy, that girl who looks the best, let's throw that in quotation marks because looks are relative, but
Right.
who
Right.
looks like the gym person, almost never, I would say 99 out of 100 times, had no clue what they were doing in terms of working out. They were not the most educated. They did not have the best workouts. They were usually doing workouts that were probably bad for them and were going to break them at some point. But you know what they had was they were consistent. They were
Right. Right.
there for the last 10 years, 5 days a week, never missed. And they just, again, if you're that consistent, you can bang your head against a wall and you'll lose weight, right? Because you're burning calories. Same thing with diet. If you're just dieting and you just never stop, you're going to lose. It doesn't matter if it's keto, paleo, this one, that one, or the third one. The point is you're consistent. So my job as a coach is to, one, get you in it so that you're able to be consistent, keep you consistent, but
Mhm.
then also build it in a way that it isn't torture, right? Because anyone can do
Right.
something for so long, right? Everyone's had an experience like, well, I dieted and I lost 20 pounds for 6 weeks, but then what happened? Oh, well, I couldn't live like that and I went back the other way. So it's like, I don't want to build this in a way that is just a short-term fix. I want you to be able to have this for the rest of your life, because healthy and happy, that is not something that has an endpoint. That is something that I think is for everyone forever. So, it's like I tell my clients when we first start, it's like, imagine you're going to climb Mount Everest. You hire a guide, someone who's climbed before, someone who they can't do the climb for you. You still have to climb it yourself, but they make it easier that if you were to probably try to climb that mountain by yourself, you'd probably die. But you have a Sherpa with you and they hold the flashlight when it's dark and they help you set up your tent and they make it a little bit easier and at least give you a fighting chance. Now, is it still going to be hard? Of course it is. but at least you have the tiniest chance. And
Right.
that's what I try to do with my clients.
Nice. Okay, so I'm confused. Are you still in the fitness industry?
So not really. I mean, I say that because in the terms of there's always going to be fitness as a part of this, meaning for better or for worse, people come to me because they want weight loss, right? I can talk all the stuff about positive mindset and happiness and everything like that, but most people want to lose weight. Most people want to feel better in their body. Most people want to, and that's a good goal, right? I want them to have that.
Right.
But and because I was in that world for a long time, I get a lot of referrals, and a lot of my social media followers know me from that time. So people will come to me and think that I'm going to give them, like any other fitness coach, a workout plan and a nutrition plan. But we don't talk about that stuff, right? We talk about the mindset, and we talk about how do I get them to be consistent? Because once I can do that, we can plug in any diet that you want, right? I'm doing I'm actually today, later this evening, I'm doing a live with my Facebook group, teaching them how to build their own workouts, because it's like, once you're consistent, you can do whatever you want. I don't need to give you workouts all the time anymore. You want to go running, you want to ride a bike, you want to do Brazilian jiu-jitsu, you want to go lift, you want to do rock climbing, whatever you do, that you plug into that 3 times a week to exercise is good. That's the thing. Like, people get so caught up on the nitty gritty of, okay, do I need to be squatting or deadlifting, or do I need to be cardio or this? And it's like, yeah, that matters. But what matters much more is that you're getting off the couch for an hour a few times a week. And that's the point of where it's like, why I moved away from fitness, because I was having the first argument, right? That's what my job was as a trainer, was like, to be like, no, well, you have to make sure that you're optimizing every workout. And for the people who are already in the gym, that's a conversation worth having. But considering that 9 out of 10 people are struggling to find time to breathe and find time to eat an apple instead of McDonald's, like, I was leaving out so many people that's why I made this transition. So again, I still bring fitness into that, and that's part of the overall conversation. But if we have 10 things, like, that's one of, the other 9 are not. That's just a piece of the puzzle, but it definitely is still in there.
That makes perfect sense. When you're working with people and you're trying to get them to that first part of consistency, how do you get them started on the path of repeatable behaviors? Because it's easy to start, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, you start to, like, lose some people. And then, kind of like we were talking about the New Year's resolutions, it just goes down from there.
Yeah, I mean, so one, like I said already, start with tiny goals, right? So when someone sets a goal, I have a whole module on goal setting, because I always say goal setting is an art and a science. And people are just like, my goal is to do this. And it's like, well, where did you come up with that from? But the best question I can ask, and I ask everyone when they set a goal, one, I let everyone set their own goals. I never set someone else's goals, right? Because, like I was just saying, people don't like to be told what to do. So if I say, hey, your goal this week is to go to the gym 5 times a week, inherently, even if you agree in your head, you're like, man, what the hell? Like, I don't want to go. So my thing is always asking you, what is your goal? And we workshop that together. But then the next question is, whatever the goal you chooses, I say, on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that you can achieve that goal this week? And if it's anything less than a 9, then we don't do that goal, because then you're setting yourself up for failure. Setting up yourself up for failure, I want you to only have wins, because wins build momentum. Momentum builds positive self-talk. It builds, I can do this. It builds, I feel good about this. It builds, okay, what can I try next? Whereas if I set a goal and I don't achieve it, it builds, well, I'm not worthy. This isn't working, whatever. So perfect examples, go to the gym, right? Like I said, I'm literally doing this presentation today. How many times a week should I go to the gym? People ask me that all the time. How many times a week should I exercise? So that's a bad question. You tell me, how many days a week can you consistently commit to exercising with 100% certainty? Or so let's say 99% certainty, because 100% is never possible. And they might say 2, but I'm supposed to go 4. Again, going back to shoulds and supposed tos and expectations. You just told me that I can only commit 2 days a week to go to the gym, but I'm supposed to go 4. Now, how in the world could I ever win in that scenario when I can only do 2, but in my head, I can only win if I go 4? I've already lost, right? Whereas if I say, okay, you can only do 2, that's good. Let's do 2. Now you can win, because you can do the 2 a week that you did. Now, of course, okay, over time, maybe you can ramp it up to 3. Maybe you do 2 and then you have time and you get a 3rd day. That's a win. But now let's say that you set out your goal for 4 and you only get 3. Now it's a loss. Now I was supposed to get 4, but I only get 3. Whereas if I only plan for 2 and then I got 3, now it's a win. It's the same scenario, right?
Right.
But one is one I feel bad about and one I feel good about. So I need to set my clients up for wins and then celebrate the wins. Every client call I have starts the same way. Give me a win. Tell me something that went good this week. And people, oh, well, I don't know. No, but something went good. Tell me. It doesn't matter what, because we have to get our brain used to looking for these things, right? Same thing as doing gratitude. I do gratitudes with my clients. I have a whole morning routine checklist that I give away to people, and gratitude is part of that. Why is gratitude so important? Like, yes, it's good to be grateful, but it's also training our brain to see positive things, right? Yeah. We have what's called, and the human brain has what's called known as the negativity bias, right? We are predisposed to see negative things. And this comes from evolution, because when we were cavemen in the caves or on the Serengeti or wherever we were 10,000 years ago, you had to know if there was a tiger coming, right? If you went and ate a berry bush and that berry was poisonous, you had to remember bad berries, right? So we remember that. Negative things stay in our mind more saliently than positive things, right? Everyone has an experience of having an entire day, and then you get home, your wife or your husband goes, hey, how was work today? And you go, oh, Susie was such a whatever. And it's like, that was a 5-minute interaction, but that was the one thing you chose out of that whole day, because that thing is more heavily in your brain. So how do we counteract that? We have to counteract that by overflowing our brain with positives, with wins, with gratitude. I have affirmations all over my wall, all over my phone. Everything is, because it's not like, oh, some woo-woo, like I'm going to vision board my way to the success. It's literally, I'm trying to train my brain so that when I have a bad day, it's not everything is lost. It's, yeah, I had a bad day, but bad days happen and tomorrow will be a better day. I have a choice in that moment, but I had to like my brain, if I let it go to what it wants to do, it's going to go to the world is burning and, everything is bad. Whereas if I have trained it that way, so again, going back to your question about what my clients, it's literally momentum is a huge thing. I want as many tiny wins as I can. And again, understanding the whole thing what I said before about process leads to progress. If I'm building momentum, creating tiny wins over and over and over, I can assume that over the long run, I'm probably going to have some good progress as well. So it's like a win-win-win-win-win scenario.
I love that. Put the odds in your favor.
Right.
So where can everybody find this group so that they can log on for the videos or?
Yeah, for sure. So again, everything is the Healthy Happy Human. So Healthy Happy Human podcast, the Healthy Happy Human Academy is my Facebook group. It's completely free. I do live trainings in there every week and just put resources when I, read blogs or read books that I like. I just share it with people. So I can put a link to that here, or you can just search it in the Facebook bar, the Healthy Happy Human Academy. And if you just want to connect with me, you can feel free to friend request me or find me on Instagram. It's just at my name, Paul Levitin, across all social platforms. And yeah, I love talking to people. Clearly, I just talked for the vast majority of this half hour. I love talking about this stuff, and that's what my podcast is for. And I love teaching about this stuff because it's changed my life, and I know that it will help others if they learn about it as well.
I love it. I love your enthusiasm for this. And I think the world needs more of this, especially, after the last couple of years. It's been, kind of shaky there. But I am of the opinion that, if you focus on the good stuff and just smile through it all, makes it so much easier.
Right. I mean, listen, everything is a choice, right? And again, going back to what I was just saying, that's why I love this. I use this analogy a lot of, if you're driving to work and you get into a fender bender, there's 2 ways that can go. It can be, oh my God, now I'm going to be late for work and this, now I have to call my insurance company. Or it can be, oh my God, I'm so lucky. This could have been so much worse. I'm so much safer. And your brain, that is not a conscious decision. That happens like this when that accident happens. But the subconscious decision that your brain makes in that moment is based on everything you've done in your entire life leading up to that. And all of the positivity training and all of the podcasts you listen to and all of the books that you read prepares you for that moment. And that's the type of person I want to be. I want to be the second person, not the first person.
Yes, definitely. Well, thank you so much, Paul, for joining me for this conversation. It's been enlightening, and I hope somebody found some nuggets in there. I found a whole page worth. So I will be sure to share those in the show notes. But again, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me. And hi, everyone.
Bye, guys.